Thank you very much, Olivier. I hope I could move to my presentation, but I really would like to thank for this opportunity to be in Brussels, to IFRI. I'm not very often in Brussels nowadays, and I regret it very much because it's really not only a wonderful city, but I have a lot of friends, and I miss you. That's definitely is clear. On energy, I continue to very much to follow it, and I was very glad about the ambitious formulation of Energy Union. And I know that Commission is facing very challenging task to present something for the end of the year for the fifth dimension of the Energy Union, research and innovation competitiveness. I will come later what I would think they should go at the end of the presentation. But here, my presentation basically will be based on my work in Global Agenda Council on decarbonization of energy. Global Agenda Councils is a meeting of group of experts for different areas under World Economic Forum. So it's not group that is paid or prepare big reports. Actually, it is a way how to try to disseminate the information or to get a new information. So the advantage of it is like on sustainability, sustainable development goals, you get perception of the thinking of people from different parts of the world, and you could better understand your argumentation. Does it work with people who are coming from China, India, United States? Sometimes being in Europe, we are too egocentric. And that's always is very, very helpful just to get what other people are thinking, not being just in your own shell, even if sometimes you would not agree what other people are thinking. So chair is Lars Josefsson. He's now professor, but he was in the electricity industry. And representatives are Tetsuo Masuda from Japan, well-known professor, but also professor of China, US, India, UK. So you really get more understanding of it. So how it, I need to choose this one. How to switch it over, if I could. Yeah. Thank you. I think when we talk about the biggest, in my opinion, by far the biggest challenge for the energy industry is master the climate change. But at the same time, I still would argue that in Europe, I don't see anything contradiction in our ambition to be on competitiveness and also on security of supply. Europe has not, well, big perspectives on hydrocarbons. It's very clear it is. And with all the relationships that now has, well, I would say improved because of new possibilities of being supplied by hydrocarbons, we're still paying money. So from this point of view, I would say security of supply is well served with the change in energy sector. But the biggest challenge is in competitiveness, actually. Because, well, being now back in Latvian politics, I discovered one particularity that all new investments are from energy intensives are going to US. Part of it, what they say, it's electricity prices. But, well, we have some limits that we have electricity price to make because Russian gas costs something. So even if it's fair price we are paying, it still costs money. And we are unable to compete on the equal terms on the current fuels. That it seems quite obvious. It's slow process. It does not mean that somebody closes energy-intensive industries production in the sites, but there is no new investments coming. And in US, low-cost shale gas is now over 50% of US production. And their main target is, well, first it's easy target, replace coal. I was amazed to learn that more than 50% of US coal-fired power plants are more than 50 years old. I would never believe, but that was the fact. It's easy to replace. Then there will be a bit LNG on the level of Qatar, but the main actually is used for domestic investments to stimulate domestic investment. And that is a real challenge because we can't beat, even if we say that Russian gas is competitive, but it's only because the transport by LNG will cost more. So we really have a strong competitiveness issue, and by traditional means, we can't just get the competitiveness back. That, I think, is more than ever clear. So shale gas is good news for diversification, but not good news for our competitiveness. And it's also very clear that US will not hear to calls that let's keep the gas in the ground. So it's not the willingness, or at least not the understandings that they will following. And there, for next 20 years, at least the reserves are quite big. So what I believe that climate change agenda is not separated by our competitiveness. This, I think, is very firmly need to be repeated and repeated now with renewable legislation, with carbon price legislation that we are discussing, because sometimes it seems that it's the wrong way. We are punishing ourselves. Actually, that's the only way how to move forward. But to limit global warming to 2 degrees, we need really to decrease by 2050 greenhouse gas emission by 80%. And as 2/3 are coming from energy, that means that we have really to work to do with energy. And at the same time, we should not forget that still any person in this world should get access to affordable, clean, and reliable supply of energy. So basically, energy demand is growing, so we really have an issue to deal with. If we see how we have performed until now, definitely there is something to be proud of. CO2 emissions and greenhouse gas emissions from the energy sector has increased steadily. We can say, well, it is less, but still it's very clearly, and it is 2/3 of the global greenhouse gas emission. We could say, well, it's Chinese problem. China has made this a big change. United States, Europe is behaving. India is only starting, but it's very clear that it is our agenda as well. And from sectors, if you see all the sectors mentioned, so we clearly see that power production, I think, is one of the main issues that need to be dealt with. In the Global Agenda Council, I think the biggest surprise I had, we have neither silver bullet, not magical tool. But I will tell perhaps, and I will be very interested in debate, perhaps we already have this magical tool. Because, well, you don't get brand new ideas. Because, well, it seems that there is some, well, saturation or some limit that is provided to us, but it seems to me, at least, if we go aggressively enough, perhaps we are not so badly equipped. Because the 2 major immediate solutions, definitely solar and wind power. And there's the estimation of what they can achieve is very different. International Energy Agency say by 2050 you could cut, well, 22% of greenhouse gas emissions just using this. Why they are so pessimistic? Basically, they say, well, there is no storage ability. But in storage, there have been quite sustainable movement, and I believe, well, we are very close to the breakthrough, sustainable breakthrough, not only for electrical cars, but also for storage of bigger power volumes. That's why, for me, I think this solar and wind power, actually development gives, I would say, certainty. If there is political will, we definitely could, even now with current knowledge, deal with the climate change challenge, but we really need to be by far aggressive in it. But it's not overall view, and there is definitely a lot of countries in the world that say third generation nuclear is part of clean carbon. I know that in Europe there are different views on it, and there have been not too much investments. I know that one of my neighbor country would like to build, but they are not advantages, I would say, centimeter, because it costs too much money to invest, and, well, the demand is falling. So basically you do not get investment. With UK plant, I personally am a bit skeptical. I don't know what will happen. There was a green light given in a way, but the developments are too slow really to expect too much. But still, if I see by capacities that are being constructed, particularly in China, it's solid capacity and is definitely by far better than coal-fired power stations if it would be built. Energy efficiency in buildings, mostly people talk about built-in photovoltaic systems. So it is advantage that a lot of seen as a technological, that you can get more decentralized even by constructing. I would say what debate was less in Global Agenda Council, that we still need to sort out how to encourage any reconstruction, any building, also economically, not only by building standards. I still believe that there could be schemes with certificates that would encourage investor already to think about energy efficiency, not just to build and resell or rent, but really to get money out because it's energy efficient building. I believe the market could play more in it. Energy efficiency in transportation, well, there we have got a setback recently by, I think it was Dieselgate or whatever it was called. It was a huge deception for me personally. I think I will never recover as a commissioner because you believe in it. These things. I'd never believed. I think it's not true because it's so mean to cheat. And if you are especially companies that basically make things that should drive you safely, I just can't get this notion. For me, it was really a shock because I think I still can't digest it because I can't find explanation for it. Because you don't cheat generally, I think, in life, but especially if it concerns the life of other people, you could not afford this. So investigation is going on, and we will see. But I believe still, more and more, that the basic direction is electrical vehicles. It's still low start, but with supercharging and longer range, I think that will be where the change will go. Because I don't see on natural gas. I do believe that cheating demonstrates that there is some technical limit what cars could do. I believe that's the direction it will take, but we will see. Efficient industry processes, nothing new. It is definitely additional investment needed, but if the price is good, well, you make your money back. And the last was the biggest discussion. Do we need to build new coal plants, even most efficient, where the efficiency rate is from 35 to 45? And there was no common idea on it. Because, as I told, in US, coal power plants operates 50, 60, 70. So when you build now, basically the lifetime will going beyond 2050, when it should be cut off of the grid. So it will be stranded assets or somehow otherwise recuperated. So I think whoever is now organizing energy markets should consider this. So 2050, it can't work. The compromise was, well, you saw CCS ready. Well, what does it mean? How you explain it? And I believe that is no way, I would say, if we're really serious about climate change, it's end of coal-fired power station everywhere in the world. Because there are alternatives. It's not true that there are not alternatives to provide power, but building new coal-fired power plants, even extreme technological advance, will not do the trick because sooner than later we will cut it off of the grid. And then the companies will say, we invested, you did not warn us. You should pay for capacity in it. And I think it is politically mistake, but that's how it is. But the good news is that investments in clean energy is good. If you see that nearly half of the capacity that has been installed, it has been in renewable energy. I still would use clean energy to be correct. This is a different interpretation. I would say it's renewable energy. I know that carbon-free, I would say it is renewable and nuclear energy. And, well, with CCS, we can expand the definition. But I believe the investments have been good. And the latest data from 2015 have been even better, because wind has been 64 gigawatts globally installed, 57 has been for solar PV, and that's by capacity, it is 30% more than in 2014. Where I expect more developments, it's in geothermal. There is a big geothermal in Turkey, but if you see installed capacities, it does not move. And perhaps it's dead end, because there is a new technology that is medium speed, but it's require public acceptance, and there is sometimes also unconfirmed reports that it makes earthquakes or minor earthquakes, so the geothermal is not too much. But basically, 2015 was good year for clean investments, and it is good news because oil prices went down, gas prices went down, and also coal prices went down. So it was in the situation where you could argue perhaps that investments that have started needed to be continued, but it seems the trend is there. Overall investment increased to $330 billion US, and it is by far 4% more than the previous year. Now, the bad news. Well, the good news on the bad news. The good news, China is definitely a leader by distance. US is good or second. Europe is down completely. Well, you can find perhaps explanation, but not too good explanation, especially when the new renewable directive should be done. Europe went 18% down. It's the weakest performance since 2006. And the only countries that went up is UK. Well, we will see a referendum. I hope it will be still EU investment on a couple of days. But the challenge is that something does not work at this stage of renewable investments in Europe. Part of explanation, Germans change the scheme, but it's not rings well. Europe is not only Germany, so it should be by far better. And I believe that Europe really needs to consider what happens, why the investments in renewables are going down. It went down in Germany, it went down in France, and despite all the political momentum or requests that governments make, and we have EFCI, Juncker's Wonder Plan, okay, we could say this, that actually provides quite good financing and could have been used better exactly for this purpose. I have not good explanation for this, but globally, we definitely could be satisfied with this. Now about medium term, if you see that there is 8 different mentionings, and I will briefly stop it. For me, definitely storage is a key. Storage is a key. They have been, it's game changer. If I see the countries that have a decent sun, solar and storage completely makes gas not needed in most of the, I would say, hottest US states, and also in countries where you have substantial sun possibilities. So it is really game changer everywhere. And there is some developments on cars. I think on industrial storage, it's still some issues are still going. But if I would have a lot of money that I don't have, I would invest in storage, because whoever makes the best patents in the area, definitely it makes a difference. It's all the difference that we need globally, Europe-wide, and also, well, the ones that investors are also will profit immensely. The second is carbon abatement, the CCS and CCU. It is somehow seen, at least by panel, neglected area, because in some parts of the world, definitely coal fire will continue. And if we would like to completely exclude carbon emissions, then we need at least to consider these technologies for the not perhaps for power, where you can bypass, but for the issues related to steel, cement production, etc. So it should be viable. And sometimes the perception from panel is that people just tend to close their eyes because it's not popular. And we know it's not popular, but it is a part of the solutions that need to be advanced. About advanced geothermal, I said that there is experiments going that could provide results, but the perception, and I think what I have now, I would say I would be a bit surprised if it will make a breakthrough. I still believe that there is a potential, but less than I personally believed earlier. Ocean energy is mentioned. It's a huge potential. I don't think that we will manage, at least in my lifetime, really to use it well. So I wish I'm wrong, but it sounds so technically challenging that it is. Next generation biofuels, I think it's a must. That's again, it's because I don't see that we will all sit in long range supercharged vehicles. So I think it is a must, really, at least for part of the, I would say for aviation. I don't see any other solution for aviation because I don't know how otherwise we can fly. Next generation power electronics is something that Tatsuo Masuda is very, very keen because he believes with all the transformation from DC to DC, DC-AC, that is where a lot of energy is consumed, and that definitely gives a lot of chance. And hydrogen, this is something that I was very, very excited at some stage, still less excited. I hope that I'm wrong again. And advanced nuclear reactors, where some countries are very keen. There, the idea is basically to make smaller, safer, and more efficient. The challenge is, if you go smaller, then the current procedure of certification is a headache. So what is attempt from Global Agenda Council is really to engage with the countries that would be interested and somehow pool the resources, how you, prove that it's safe and that you can multiply easily without not each step being vigorously followed by regulator. I know that perhaps that's not the only reason, but that was a dispute between Areva and the Finnish partners in Finland saying, we need each step to be certified. And I would say it's correct, but it is death for the speed of how you implement the project. So I think that's where is less perhaps not only technological challenge, but it's also a regulatory challenge because it changes paradigm how to use nuclear energy. I don't know how keen European countries are. And the last part is on enablers that we talked. I think everybody agrees, and I hope that it will be more globally, it's carbon price. So there is no country, no one in the panel that said no carbon price. I think it's 100%. It's pity that it's only 11% of emissions are covered, but I think it will come. And I believe that what Commission adopted with market reserve document and also new approach in the next period, it will work and give courage to others to do. There is no disagreements on it, and it is. On government investments, I am proud that we joined this coalition, what is called Mission. It's Mission Innovation. Yeah, it's Mission Innovation. It's a Mission Impossible sound sometimes. But I believe that it's very clear that governments should invest by far more in renewable and in clean energy research. It's a broad subject. It's all energy efficiency, etc. Because 2015 reports definitely shows that there have been no increase in government funding for research. It was stayed, I think, flat with 1%. Mission Innovation is good in a point that they say, we will double. About Commission, I am safe that they will do because their budget is foreseen, and even renegotiation potential with British can't change the current budget, at least I hope. So that means that it moves from 1 billion to 2 billion. So I believe that it is going in very clear. From the country's point of view, I really believe that they should fulfill the pledge. Because for industry to invest, it's challenging. And I will explain why it is challenging for industry. Because first of all, there is immense pressure on the final price. So that means for the network operators that need really to invest or study the networks, it is regulators that decides which regulator will be very generous for money to research. In competition as well, to invest in research, it's rather challenging for the companies because payoff period is very long compared with pharmaceuticals or any other industry. So there really is the only way that I see it is governments that really need to invest by far more. And then there's a breakthrough coalition from the private investors that say, we are ready to invest with governments for the future of the planet. And there is good example. Global Fund to fight 3 diseases, tuberculosis, malaria, and HIV, is good example how it works together because it seemed impossible because it costed too more. I'm not saying that we should replicate Global Fund, but the advantage was there was Bill Gates money coming in and government's money coming in. So it's not saying for energy research you need to do exactly the fund because it could, but the whole idea would be successful. Performance standards is nothing new. Behavior changes, it is crucial, and I always see it is when I now travel because I have more time to have proper lunch and dinner. In UK, if you are vegetarian, part of my family is vegetarian. There is no problem to get vegetarian dish any place. Well, in continental, it could be a problem. So you can only get pasta, and sometimes they said, well, perhaps we can put some fish on it. So it demonstrates that behavioral change has a lot of impact on the choices we make, and a lot of need to work on this is necessary because it does not come automatically. So I believe that is trade investment policy is clear, smart infrastructure planning, and here will come one very important piece of legislation, and I hope the Commission will be very ambitious. It's electrical market design related because it's really should be ambitious because only then you make investments for renewables in the place they are the best to be placed, not because of other political or border observations. Price zones should be right. So it is a real complicated legislation. I know the Commission is on the right track. I hope that they will make decisions because that will really make investments in electricity sector by far more better place compared where we are today. But let's hope that it will be better. And last, it's low carbon energy systems for energy access. I will just explain. European Union is doing quite a lot to support people who have no access to electricity, that they get access to it. The challenge is that there are plenty of partners that are doing the same, and each doing in different ways. And as a result, you get systems that cost a lot, and at the same time is difficulty to compatible. So the whole idea is to really build on current technologies like blocks, and that could be installed in the countries that would like to do it, where you install for family. I could bring the example from Bhutan. Bhutan did differently. Bhutan brought electricity to each village from the big hydro. That's fine. But people don't know what to do with this electricity. That's the next problem. So you really need to think over because they need to buy things that they have no money for. So you brought electricity, clean electricity, and nothing happens in it. So, and I will finish with set plans that was well, starter for the big Commission initiatives that will come at the end of the day. What it did, you see joint strategic planning, more effective implementation, increase in resources, well, a bit, reinforce international cooperation. It's more about organization. But I would like really to be more ambitious on particular technologies with a goal when to achieve something, or at least to demonstrate how much money will come into this. Because if we are not ambitious on real results in research or in innovation, then we spend too much effort on the organization. And today's organization made by SET Plan is working. It's not perfect, but I don't think this is the direction to go. It's really to take ambition on the clean energy solutions that are necessary for the world. So thank you very much, and I will finish here. So I hope it was not too boring, because I'm not anymore commissioner, so I need to be entertaining. Thank you.